Hi there. Welcome to episode 133 of Girl Take the Lead, which is a soundbite. A soundbite is a shorter episode that builds on a topic we've covered on a previous episode or is a little bit of inspiration. And I'm your host, Canny. So before we get started, I wanted to tell you about a podcast where I was a guest. And that podcast is Celebrate Brave Careers with Nicole Steinbach. And she was so gracious and wonderful. And we talked about personal branding, which a lot of you know is very close to my heart as a marketer. And we explored the topic. And I appreciated very much her graciousness and her openness. And I'm filled with much gratitude for her and that podcast. So please check it out. So today we're going to build on a topic we've covered, I think, in 3 episodes. And there'll probably be some more down the road, but friendship. And today we're going to talk about values and the values we hold in our friendships. And I found an article when I was doing my research on this topic, which was in Psychology Today, and it was written by Dr. Suzanne Dejas White, PhD, and it was called The 13 Essential Traits of Good Friends, which is key to maintaining long-term connection. So I thought that was great and a great resource for us. Dr. Dejas White is a professor and chair of the counseling and higher education department at Northern Illinois University. Her academic research explores women's relationships and women's developmental transitions. So I think she could be a good source for us. So here's what she had to say about maintaining long-term friendships. Essential friendship traits fall into 3 general categories. These traits are integrity, caring, and congeniality. And we'll go into more depth about those in a minute too. Everyone brings a different level of 13 essential traits to their relationships. 3, trustworthiness is often the make or break element in any interpersonal relationship. This article had a section of 13 essential elements of friendship traits, but I decided to check in with my listeners at our Girl Take the Lead Facebook group. And you can join it anytime. So please go and visit us. We'd love to have you there. And I asked them to tell me what traits they looked for in friends. And here's what they came up with: good listener, someone I can trust who is reliable, honest, and has empathy, is non judgmental, unless I'm screwing up and need to be scolded, and with whom I can have fun. Being present, acceptance, love, listening without judgment, longevity, a shared heart. Someone who is always there without judgment, and someone who is your cheerleader. True friendship is when you and your friend are there for each other in good times and bad, and it's okay for them to see the bad. Good listener tells me the truth, even if it isn't always positive. Someone I can laugh with, feeling like I add value to them too, understands me, and points out what I don't always see. Ready to help at the drop of a hat, no questions asked. Doesn't make it hard to get together. I choose friends who have a good sense of humor, who are authentic in communicating with me, and of course, have similar interests as me. Additionally, I do not choose friends who talk about their friends behind their backs, because I can't trust them to have my back in those instances. And I think I'd add this one to the list. Give space for them to celebrate their successes, even when I feel hurt or when we have differences of opinion. So let's take a look at that first group, those that fall into the group of integrity. And the traits that the article mentioned that fell into that group were trustworthiness, honesty, dependability, loyalty, and as an interrelated quality, the ability to trust others. Trustworthiness. So, as we mentioned, trustworthiness is often the make or break element in any interpersonal relationship, regardless of perceived magnitude, can devastate a relationship. Trustworthiness is comprised of several components, including honesty, dependability, and loyalty. And while each is important to successful relationships, honesty and dependability have been identified as the most vital in the realm of friendships. Honesty requires that we speak openly from the heart and incorporate objectivity into our words. Being dependable means that friends can count on you to be there when you say you will, at a drop of a hat, as like one of our listeners said, to do what you say you will, and to be willing to stand up for your friends, especially when they can't stand up for themselves. If you are as likely to let friends down as come through for them, the relationship often becomes superficial, less engaging, and even resentment provoking if it doesn't end altogether. Loyalty is valued early on in all of our relationships from the time we make our first friendships. We need friends who won't spill our secrets to others, gossip about us, or allow others to criticize us. And being able to trust another person involves being comfortable with vulnerability. If we have difficulty sharing our authentic self with a friend, it's doubtful our friend will be easily willing to do this with us. And I'd expand a bit more about something that the article stated. Facebook group friends brought up the word acceptance. And I add to acceptance that a friend accepts all of us, the total person, not just when things are good or fun, but we can share the parts of us like resentments, anger, jealousy, or things going on we can't make sense of or don't know which path to take. And we just need to talk it out. The second group of traits was caring. And that group included empathy, being judgment free, listening skills, and the ability to support others in good times and bad, kind of like what I just mentioned. These traits require some personal insight, some self discipline, and unconditional positive regard, I think, for our friends. Empathy is the ability to understand what is going on with a friend, to recognize how he or she is feeling, and to interact and respond accordingly. The ability to be non judgmental reflects our ease in accepting a friend's choices, regardless of how they may differ from our own. Good listening skills are essential to allow the communicating of intimate thoughts, feelings, and experiences. This sharing is a gradual process of give and take that deepens over time. So it's kind of like a spectrum. And something I'd add here, if we're talking, we can't be listening. And the last component, she says, is being supportive of others in their bad times as well as their good times. The saying goes, everybody loves a winner. But for some of us, that just isn't so. If you have trouble celebrating another's good fortune and experience envy or even bitterness, this may limit the depth of your friendships. I think Noor Jahan brought this up in episode 131, that she was becoming more and more successful and some friends fell away. I also think we just need to make space for our friends to be who they are and to just let them be who they are. And the third group was traits of congeniality. Okay. So what is congeniality anyway? Wasn't Sandra Bullock in a movie called Miss Congeniality, where she was an FBI agent that went undercover and she was in the United States, I think Miss United States pageant. And while it's the name of a good movie, most pageants do have a Miss Congeniality award. And that goes to the friendliest person, the easiest person to be around, and the most kind hearted in the pageant. So we'll go with it, right? Like just the easiest person to be with. The article says that this group of traits includes self confidence, the ability to see humor in life, and being fun to be around. And these traits have been associated with overall well being and happiness in life. And we've covered those episodes too on the podcast. So let's look at self confidence. And that's an appealing characteristic in any friend and may even be contagious. When we are in the company of a self confident individual, we typically feel good about ourselves and our confidence rises. People who are fun to be around seem to enjoy life more, handle challenges in a proactive way. And lastly, people who have the ability to see the humor in life help us deal with the curveballs that we get tossed. So I'd like to add one more aspect of friendship that I don't think was covered in the article. And that is we have a shared history with our friends. Wherever short or long it was, it's something that we shared together. And I know when my sister passed that I felt I lost a friend who really knew my history from when I was born until she passed. And I think having gratitude for that period of time that we had with our friend, brings joy to our heart and love and allows us to really appreciate who they were and what the time was for us and actually understand more about ourselves. So, on that note, we'll end our episode today, and I sure hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, let us know. And our next episode will also be on this topic of friendship, like why we end them and why they fizzle out. So I hope you'll join us again. Thanks for being here. Bye.